Hi everyone, welcome back to Ariel Paints. Today we are going to paint a candy cane design with some holly, so stick around and I will show you guys how I get a realistic candy cane on the job with a lot of really easy tricks that you can use too. So I'm going to start with a small filbert brush and any black and white cake or a white, gray, and black, and I'm going to pick up mainly the white with just about a quarter of the filbert brush running over that gray. Now I do try to make sure this is not too wet because I want my candy cane to dry quickly on the job. So if I see I have a little too much water, I'm just going to dab it off on a towel so that I have a good consistency of paint on the brush, but that it's not too wet just because it's going to take forever to dry. And we are doing this on the job and quickly. So once my brush is well loaded with nice creamy paint, I'm going to go ahead and do a hook shape for the candy cane. If you want a realistic candy cane, make sure not to go out too far with the hook so that it's too wide, and don't hook it in too much either. You got to have kind of the nice right balance to get the realistic look. So make sure the white is on the outside and your gray is on the inside, because that's going to help with the illusion of the shading. And we're just going to do a nice little hook to about right there. And then I'm going to flip my brush the other way so that I'm using up the paint on the other side and the gray and white is matching up. And I get that nice round bottom, and it's just one easy stroke. You want to make sure this dries before you go in with the red, so this is where you're going to do any of the other elements you're going to do for the design, whether it's glitter, holly, snowflakes. Grab those other cakes, work on that until this is nice and dry so you don't get a pink candy cane instead of a red striped candy cane. I think we'll do some holly. And I have a 5/8 brush. This is a short angled from the face painting shop. It's a smaller flat brush, so just a little easier to control. You're going to get smaller leaves out of this than if you grab a 3/4 or even a 1" would be huge. So this is where I would say grab your 5/8, your 1/2" brushes, or your dagger brushes are great for this because it gives you a more smaller controlled leaf. And there's Emmy Lou. She wants into my studio, so I'm gonna go open the door for her or she'll keep crying. All right, so I am gonna envision where I want the berries to go on the holly. So I'm gonna do some up here and then maybe some down here, and then I might still wanna do a bow in the very end, so I'm gonna leave some room in the center. To do holly, I tend to lay my brush down flat first, and then I do a little bit of a U, another U, and then I swoop up to a peak, and then I go back down from the top and I do another reverse U shape, one more, and then I have it meet down at the bottom. And then you can always fill in with the bottom of your brush if you'd like. At this point you can drag that toe and create some veins if you'd like to. And depending on what kind of look you're going for, you can use a brighter green as well. I tend to really like these cakes that have the brown in them. It just makes for a little bit more of a vintage look. So I'm going to do another leaf over here, our little holly leaf, and then I'm just going to fill in with the heel. And then I want that layered look, so I'm just going to clean up the other one with the toe of that brush. And then instead of doing another leaf here, I'm just going to kind of drag those off just so that there's a little bit of an element getting pulled down. Another one right here. I'm trying to keep them small so that the candy cane still is the focus. Another one right there, and then pull that down, sharpen that up a little bit, And that's okay if you go over your candy cane just a little bit, we can clean it up. And I'm gonna drag that through and drag the toe through and just create some little veins. So they end up looking like holly or fall leaves, but once you put the berries on, it reads more like holly. For the berries, you can use a large petal brush. This is the large one from the face painting shop, and just go ahead and plop little circles, which is what I'm gonna do. But if you don't have a brush like that, just grab your filbert brush, and this still has my white on it, but it'll still be a good example. And just go ahead and make a little round berry. So just with one little swoop, you can make a round berry and make your 3 berries just like that, and it's really, really fast. So I usually have a few filbert brushes in my kit that are about the same size so that I can do that. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and stamp on our berries and do them in 3s. This brush does make it really easy because it's just kind of a big, fat, round brush, so it's perfect for this. And I'm going to do kind of a smaller one that looks like it's going behind the candy cane. Once we're all done, the illusions will come together. So go ahead and stamp those on, make sure they're nice and red. So by now, doing that, our candy cane is nice and dry. I might just tap right over that edge so that it does stick out over my leaf and doesn't get totally engulfed by my holly. Okay, so for our candy cane stripes, I'm going to use a pointed round. This is a number 6 from the face painting shop. These brushes are amazing because you're able to get this really beautiful thin line from the tip of the brush because it's pointed. But when you're doing line work and you want a little bit of a thicker to thin line, it just does a lot of the work for you, and you can get these amazing precise lines. So absolutely adore these brushes. So that's what we're going to use to get the effect of the candy cane that we want. All right, so my brush is well loaded. I'm going to start at one edge. You just touch the tip, I press down, and then I flick up. And I get the illusion of the stripe going around the candy cane by having a thinner line on either end of the candy cane and thicker in the middle. That just helps with the overall illusion of this being 3D candy. And then I just go ahead and do that all the way around. This part's a little tricky, but once you've done it a few times, it just becomes kind of instinctual. So, up, push down, and then do that all the way down our candy cane. I'm going to do one more at the bottom, and there are stripes. So to further our illusion, we're going to take black and brown together, and I love using the Natalie Davies cakes for this because Fern and Tigress both have black and brown. So instead of me going and finding black and brown and mixing it, I'll usually just grab a brush and grab black and brown, and then I water it down to create the shadow. If you can just use black, but there is something about adding that brown into it that does really help with the realistic shadow effect. So I tend to grab those, and now I'm just gonna water it down a lot, and then I'm just gonna sweep just under the curve of our candy cane to create shadow. If you get a little too much or you think it's too strong while it's wet, just tap it off. And that way you'll get a nice little shadow effect. You can do a little at the bottom as well, but really I feel like if you just do this part, that is plenty. And it'll absorb a little bit when it dries, so you can always give it a minute and make sure that once it dries it's not too strong, but it makes for a really, really nice effect. Yeah, I think I might do one more leaf here instead of a bow. I was thinking I wanted to do a bow, but I'm just gonna cover that up. So I'm gonna do a third leaf here so that it's balanced. So I have 3 leaves and then 2 leaves, and then I'm just gonna highlight it and add glitter and let it be. But I do love a bow, so that's what I had in my head I was gonna do. But this is the beauty of face painting and designing on the go, is that sometimes you just have to wing it and make decisions as you go. Do just a few little veins. I don't want to do too many veins because then I do think it really starts to look like fall leaves instead, but you know, you can make that decision on your own. And as long as it's the holidays and you have the berries, everyone's gonna know that it's holly. I don't think you're gonna have too much trouble there. All right, so I want to highlight the berries on my holly. So I'm just gonna go ahead and give them a little sweep. And I'm using a number 6 Low Cornell for this. It gives them a little bit of depth and dimension. And then I need a script brush and some glitter. So we're gonna highlight our candy cane. I'm gonna use a script brush, and if you have trouble loading script brushes, a good trick is to go ahead and go into your white cake or your split cake, wherever you're grabbing that white. I'm using my split cake just because that's what I have in front of me. And get some creamy white paint going with a larger brush, because there aren't a lot of bristles on a script brush to activate the paint. So you end up really fighting with the bristles, and you can ruin this beautiful script brush by doing that. So if you just go in with a larger brush and you get some nice creamy paint already on that cake, then go in with your script brush and just pick up the creamy paint that you've already got ready, and then you won't fight with the script brush as much. You're just loading what's already there, and you won't ruin your script brush. This one is a number 0 from Blazing Brushes, and I just love all of these. They're beautiful and amazing, but specifically for this nice thin highlight, we're just gonna run that first little highlight right around the top curve, and then right down the other side. And you are going over the red, so you might pick up a little bit of the red and it might get a little pink. That's okay, just go right back over it and make a nice crisp white highlight. And that helps with that shiny illusion that you want. Now I don't have room, like I said, for a bow or anything, but I do want to add just a little bit of line work on this before I add glitter, because I think it would be nice, and I really enjoy doing that with my script brush while I have it loaded. So I am going to pull down some teardrops. This is what I call a winged teardrop, when you go from that first teardrop and you pull another line down. Doing line work with a script brush is just so satisfying. And if you ever watch Marcella Bustamante use her brushes for line work, you'll know that it's just one of the most mesmerizing things to watch ever. She's really good at doing the drag and drop. I'm not as good. I'll show you guys and see if I can make it work, but she's really mastered that with her own brushes and just with her technique. So instead of going from the thicker part of the teardrop down, she'll go from the thinner part thicker. That's not so bad. And then she'll just continue to do that. And when she does it, she is in such a flow, and it's just beautiful to watch. I still tend to get that breakage at the top sometimes when I do it. I definitely don't practice it enough, but if that happens, then I just kind of go back to my old ways, and I just clean it up. But like anything, practice makes perfect, and I definitely need to sit down and just practice that flow of it, because I know it's all muscle memory, but watching her do it is just brilliant. So you can try that and see how it feels. But I do like adding those little additional elements, and then I'll do some dots. This part too, depending on how much time I have or what kind of event it is that I'm working, I'll either do very few teardrops or none at all if I just don't feel like I have time. You can always do some snowflakes or a snowflake stencil if you'd like as well. That's a nice way to add additional elements without adding a whole lot of time. And then you can always layer those teardrops too. I think I'm going to do a few over here, and then I'm going to add glitter, and that will be a pretty cute little holiday design. Let's go ahead and add some glitter. This is beautiful gold glitter, and I am using a wax base so that if I do get slightly over my paint, it is not going to reactivate that paint. So I can choose to put some right here over my leaf and then around. If you do have any parts of your design that you don't love, this is where throwing just a little bit of glitter right over that is a really good way to cover it up. But I'm going to go ahead and get some right close to my little candy cane there. Thank you as always for watching. Don't forget to visit my Amazon storefront, where I have all sorts of face painting tools like these little spatulas that I use for glitter. I also have lots of other favorite things for everyday life in my Amazon store that I enjoy very much. So go check it out. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, because it really helps me continue to make free content for you guys. Comment down below, let me know if there's any specific holiday looks you guys would like to see, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks for watching.